While we were sleeping, Benjamin Netanyahu snuck right into the United States. You know, usually when he's making a visit here, it's announced days before, and you'll hear media covering it saying that the president is preparing for that visit. This time, I didn't see that happen. What did he come here to talk about? We're talking about Iran. It seems as though Benjamin Netanyahu is trying to still implement war with Iran. Let's go ahead and get into this clip here, ladies and gentlemen.
Just in Gaza and other developments in the region. The president saying nothing definitive was reached about insisted negotiations with Iran will continue until a deal is reached. This as the Trump administration is set to hold another round of talks with Iranian officials in the coming days. ABC's Karen Travers is at the White House with more. So Karen, where do those negotiations stand?
Yeah, the expectation, Perry, is that the talks will continue. Remember, last week there were indirect talks mediated by Oman between the U.S. and Iran. And the president made it very clear yesterday that he wants to see these talks continue, that diplomacy at this point is still the top option. But notable that yesterday, after meeting with the Israeli prime minister, he did say that there was nothing definitive reached. And he did leave on the table the potential for military action.
See? So, yeah, they're not letting this go. Benjamin Netanyahu, Israel, they're not willing to let this go. They really do want something to happen with Iran. And like I was telling you guys, they're trying to push the U.S. to do it. And they want the U.S. to start it. They want Donald Trump to basically strike Iran. And Israel knows that they can't beat Iran on its own. So they need the U.S. to get involved. And here we go again. And like I said, it's one thing after another. It was just weird to me that this was the first time I saw that he came to the US during Trump's presidency, and it was not announced days before that he was coming here. He came in the middle of the night. And here we go.
The president reminding Iran of what happened last summer after they did not agree to a deal. There were those strikes on Iran's nuclear facilities, and the president said in that post yesterday it didn't work out so well for them. Now, there are a lot of questions about what exactly the president wants to see, and he has not been public about what he would like a final deal to look like. We know from U.S. officials that the administration would like to see removing all the enriched uranium from Iran. We'd also like the administration would also like to see a cap on its ballistic missile program and addressing Iran's support for the militant groups in the region. But Perry, very important, those things are non-starters for Iran. They want these talks to just focus on the nuclear program. And remember, last summer, the president had said those nuclear sites were obliterated and there was major damage to Iran's nuclear program. So still a lot of questions about what exactly they could be doing right now to rebuild and how the U.S. would try to stop that.
But it just goes to show you it wasn't major damage, as we said back then, right? Like, obviously, that was clearly lies they are told by Donald Trump to make you think the U.S. did something really great that they did not do. And the reality is this, as I said before, I kind of understand where Iran is coming from, because you're in a region where your biggest enemy, Israel, has a nuclear weapon, but they're telling you that you can't have a nuclear weapon. And so Iran knows that if they were not protected in such way with any type of, weapons or whatever, that Israel will just come right in and destroy them. They know that. I don't think any country should have a nuclear weapon. None of them should have nuclear weapons, but some of them got them. And J.D. Vance said recently, he said that, well, if Iran gets one, then Saudi Arabia might want, and then so-and-so might want one. But how would you guys feel if you're in your neighborhood right now? How would you feel if all of your neighbors were allowed to have guns, but you couldn't have a gun? Think about that for a second. How would you feel? Might not feel too safe, right? That's how I want you to look at this situation. It's basically like the U.S. is trying to bully Iran into not producing any type of nuclear weapon, not building any, they even gone after the scientists for a reason. They're trying to bully them into doing this. Do this, or we are going to go to war with you. How is that diplomacy? Going a little bit more here.
So then, meanwhile, the president is threatening the 6 Republicans who voted to rescind tariffs against Canada. What's the latest there?
He is not happy with these Republicans. And I think the big question going forward now, Perry, is whether this is the sign of a potential break in the dam with Republican support on Capitol Hill as we get closer to the midterm elections. This is, of course, the signature policy of the president's economic agenda, these tariffs. The administration says that they have emergency authority to.
Then they get into the tariffs. And this is another thing, issue for Donald Trump right here. He's threatening consequences for Republicans who voted to rescind Canada tariffs. That's another issue as well. Like I said, some people are starting to break away. Eric brought up a good point. He said they also want Iran to get rid of those long range missiles. I forgot about that as well, right? Like they really don't want Iran to be in any military position where if they're attacked, they have a chance of maybe winning there or anything like that. And like I said, just pretend that you're Iran, put yourself in their shoes. A little bit more detail here. Iran's missile program tops Israel's concerns as Netanyahu meets with Trump. So you see what they focusing on. President Trump is focused on Iran's nuclear program, but Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu sees a more immediate threat to Tehran's rapid rebuilding of its ability to launch missiles at Israel. Let's go in right about here. He arrives in Washington as U.S. officials conduct talks with Iran over the future of its weapons program. Iran has insisted that the talks be confined to the nuclear program and that its ballistic missile arsenal cannot be negotiated away. The Israeli prime minister is trying to pressure Mr. Trump to get Iran to change its position by agreeing to limit its missile program. And if that does not work, he wants to convince Mr. Trump to approve another military campaign aimed at the missile sites, according to Israeli and U.S. officials. So again, they're trying to bully Iran into, doing what they want them to do. And it's just, at this point, it's just absolutely ridiculous. So if we put all the cards on the table, one or two things is going to happen here. Either Iran is going to say, okay, we agree. We will not build any type of nuclear weapon. By the way, I've been hearing this since I was a kid, that Iran was building a nuclear weapon. I'm no spring chicken, right? So either they're going to agree to that, or the U.S. is going to look at military options again and bomb more of their facilities and try to take out more of their scientists. By the way, this isn't a new thing. I talked about this a while back, that there was this history of Egyptian scientists being killed. I don't know if everybody is aware of that. And for whatever reason, Israel just seemed to be around there involved somewhere. But yeah, there's a long history of Egyptian scientists having mysterious deaths, a lot of motor vehicle accidents, those types of things. So you see where this is going, folks. I don't know about you guys. I don't want a war with anybody. And I think Iran has been very clear about what they want. And unfortunately, we have a government that is owned by the state of Israel. And that's how we get here. Hey guys, this was a Sabby clip. If you like what you saw, hit that like button and subscribe.